And it's time now for a look at the weather forecast. Eddie Sheerr joins me live in the studio, although it is another pleasant evening, Eddie.
It is. It's a beautiful evening in the capital city, Tony Marie. It's a beautiful evening across many areas of Newfoundland and Labrador. And St. John's currently looking at 22 degrees with winds variable at 17 kilometers per hour. And obviously no wind chill. Got to switch that over to the old Humidex here shortly. As we look at the sky in this image here overlooking the city, we can see it has that kind of milky hue to it. And that's not because of cloud cover. It's actually because there is wildfire smoke aloft, which came to us from those fires burning in parts of Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta because of the current weather pattern that we are in. And we can see very much the same thing as we look over the city of Corner Brook right now. Pleasant 22 degrees. But again, that sky has that kind of grayish, milky hue to it. And this is certainly doing a couple of things. One, it's noticeable. Two, it's blocking out the sun a little bit. And as we take a look at the pictures of the sunrise this morning, this picture I snapped from Torbay, you can see the sunrise was quite red and very muted. And that's because of that wildfire smoke, as we talked about before, filtering out some of those shorter wavelengths that the sun emits, especially at sunrise or sunset when the sun has to go through more atmosphere to reach your eye. And this was not the only area to see it. I got dozens of photos this morning, but another great example was taken down in St. Mary's Bay by Teresa Lewis, and you can see there, same thing. Even through a little bit of fog, the sun was very much obscured by that smoke aloft. And we can't smell it because it's probably a few thousand meters up. But we can see it on the visible satellite imagery here. You can see this stuff here, this milky kind of hue that's not moving with the cloud cover. That is the wildfire smoke. And it should begin to kind of move away from Newfoundland and Labrador over the next 24 hours or less. As we have an area of low pressure swinging in, we can see that with the cloud cover here over the Maritimes working into Quebec and out of the northeastern United States. But again, all this stems from those fires burning out west. Now we take a look at the smoke concentrations in the atmosphere. Obviously, they're going to be highest over parts of Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. But over the province, we can see this kind of little tail of smoke. And as that begins to work its way away overnight, we should see more in the way of blue sky tomorrow, if we see any, if it's not super cloudy, but certainly a lot less haze once we get through tomorrow and Thursday, although there is more off to the west, and that may obscure the skies once more a little bit during the latter part of this week. Now, as that smoke gets pushed away, we're going to see rain moving in, and that will happen overnight and as we go throughout the day tomorrow. The rain arrives first in western Labrador. Then it begins to kind of work its way towards Goose Bay after midnight, and maybe kind of heavy by tomorrow morning through parts of the Churchill Valley and into the Upper Lake, Melville, Happy Valley, Goose Bay area. At that point, we're also looking at some showers around Lab City and Wallbush, and then the rain has arrived in southern and southwestern Newfoundland early tomorrow morning as well. Risk of a thunder shower in there too. By midday, the rain has pretty well ended for the southwest coast, in the process of ending for parts of western Newfoundland, but still pretty heavy. You can see the yellows and the oranges in there, indicating some heavier areas of rain within this kind of main batch of rain, if you will. East of Goose Bay by midday, but just arriving on the Avalon by lunchtime, raining on the Burin Peninsula, much of the south coast, and through central by midday. That will stick with us for about 4 to 6 hours tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening before it kicks on out, and that will set the stage for a quieter Wednesday night and a calmer Thursday, although it does look like some of us may see some showers on Thursday, with potentially the risk of some thunder showers over parts of western and northwestern Newfoundland late Thursday afternoon. So I'll watch that threat closely as well over the next couple of days. Rainfall-wise, we're not looking at tremendous amounts, but a widespread 15, 20, 30 millimeters, certainly a very good possibility, enough to knock down that fire hazard risk quite a bit. It's a good thing. Across the island, heaviest rainfall amounts going to be in the south and southwest. We're looking at 20 to 30 millimeters from areas like Burgeo to Port aux Basques to Stephenville, and then lesser amounts as you go north and east, with generally 5 to 10 millimeters in the forecast. Temperature-wise, comfortable out there now, but overnight and tomorrow temperatures will fall, and tomorrow going to be a cooler day compared to today, but because winds are going to be from the south. It may be a little muggier. So eastern areas tonight, lows of 6 to 10 for the day tomorrow. Some fog south, highs only in the teens. But with those winds kind of screaming up from the south, we are going to see an uptick in the moisture. So while it might feel cooler, you'll likely notice an uptick in the muggies, as I like to say. Western half of Newfoundland tonight, lows of 6 to 10, with the rain showers arriving late. Periods of rain tomorrow, especially in the morning and the first half of the day for the west and southwest coast. Into Labrador overnight, we see the rain working its way from west to east and working further to the east tomorrow. And again, not as warm as the last couple of days, with highs only about 10 to roughly 17 degrees. Now, there's not a huge warm up in the forecast. In fact, Friday looks like it might have a bit of trickiness up its sleeve. We'll talk about that and the forecast for the rest of your week shortly on the NTV Evening News Hour. Tony Marie, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Eddie. And it is time.
Wildfire smoke is aloft again. That's making for some brilliant sunsets and sunrises. We'll talk about that, plus your forecast shortly on tonight's NTV Evening News Hour.
Another lovely looking day outside today.
Yeah, it's still 21 degrees, I think, in the city, something like that. It's gorgeous, Eddie.
It is. It's very pleasant outside. I guess the only detractor from that is the smoke we have aloft from those fires burning several thousand kilometers to our west in parts of Manitoba and Saskatchewan, even now from Alberta. That has drifted over towards our neck of the woods, as it has done a few times so far this quote-unquote warm season, as we're still not officially in summer. And as the smoke moves overhead, it will make for some milky skies during the day and some very kind of stunning sunrises and sunsets, because the sun will appear very red, almost bright red on the horizon, and not bright. And that's because the smoke filters out a lot of the wavelengths, and it also mutes it a bit. So this was what I saw in Torbay this morning as I woke up. That picture was taken between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. I knew right away what I was looking at. And then I got dozens of other pictures of the sun looking like this morning, and the moon looking red last night for the same reason. The moon also had that red hue to it last night. This was taken by Teresa Lewis in St. Mary's Bay this morning, and you can see the red sun was there too. In fact, most of Newfoundland likely saw the same thing this morning, as it was a clear day and we had that smoke aloft. As we look at the time lapse going back to 6 o'clock this morning, overlooking the city of St. John's, just a bit of a cold start, 9 degrees, but we can see kind of that whitish hue to the sky. Although now, as we are getting into the evening, a little less white, a little more blue, so maybe that smoke is trying to kind of work its way away, but it is still there, as the sky is kind of bluish grayish, at least in my opinion there on the webcam. And in Corner Brook, very much the same thing. Brilliant sunshine, lovely day over the city. But again, you can see a little bit of cloud cover trying to skirt through, but also that kind of white, hazy look to the sky, which is that wildfire smoke. So taking a look at the HD satellite image, this was taken by the NASA Worldview satellite earlier today. We can see all this stuff here that looks like cloud. Well, that is exactly what that is. As we zoom in a little bit closer to the island, we can see stuff that kind of looks like clouds, but it's almost like a little brownish. That's that wildfire smoke. And that will eventually kind of work its way to the east later tonight and tomorrow, but with that will come some rain. So while it may not be as hazy tomorrow, you likely won't see it because clouds are going to increase and the rain is going to follow suit. Now, typically when the smoke is overhead, it's, a few thousand meters above our heads. You typically can't smell it. Sometimes, though, if the weather pattern is right, you get some air to sink down. It pulls some of that particulate matter down to the ground. And we may be seeing that right now in parts of Newfoundland. This is the latest purple air map, which measures air quality. And what it's measuring is the amount of particulate matter, which is 2.5 microns or smaller, in the air. And when you start to see readings like 97, not too far from Lewisport, looks like 81 in Gander, that may be a sign that some of that smoke is filtering down. So folks out in central and northeastern Newfoundland are smelling a little bit of smoke in the air. That's likely from those fires burning several thousand kilometers off to our west. It happens sometimes. Also, if you're super sensitive to a little bit of particulate matter in the air, you may be feeling a little bit of this as well because, again, that air quality index is somewhere close to 100 for some areas of central. So if you have some very sensitive lungs, you may be feeling it. Hopefully the air quality improves overnight and tomorrow as we get some increased ventilation from the area of low pressure skirting through. Right now we're getting what's called subsidence in some areas where the air actually sinks from the mid-levels of the atmosphere. The area of low pressure trying to work its way in. Look at the showers, the thunder showers over parts of Quebec working their way through the maritime provinces, not too far from working into Labrador City. On the island, things are clear for the time being, but that will not last. Rain is on the way in for tomorrow. Along with that, we're going to see a cool down in those temperatures. Right now, 24 in Gander, 23 in Badger, 22 in the city of St. John's. Port aux Basques, it's just 8 degrees, 10 down in Cape Brace. And looking at teens across most of Labrador, except 4 degrees. Lonely 4 in Nain. Across the island overnight, temperatures of 6 to 10 degrees. Clouds on the increase. Rain arrives west and southwest late tonight, and that will spread east and northeast as we go throughout the day tomorrow. So tomorrow cooler than today. More rain for many areas than today because today didn't feature virtually any rain, and also windier with winds from the south gusting 50 to 60. Into the big land overnight, temperatures of 4 to 10 with the rain in the west working its way to the east. And then for the day tomorrow, rain in the east winding down late in the day. Also cooler tomorrow for many areas compared to today, although in Nain warmer because 10 degrees is warmer than 4 last I checked. And quick peek of your 3-day forecast will show temperatures getting a little bit milder for Thursday and then cooling down again as we go into Friday. We'll talk about your 5-day forecast in more detail coming up in just a few minutes on the NTV Evening News Hour. Tony and Mike, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Eddie. It is a
This is a beautiful weather photo taken almost in our backyard, taken from Bell Island. Bonnie White sent this in as they were hiking on Bell Island, looking at the bell of Bell Island, as it were. Beautiful shot there from a beautiful spot. Bonnie, thank you very much for sharing that photo with us, overlooking Conception Bay and that part of Bell Island. Hopefully the weather cooperates over the next, couple of months as we are in the high swing now of tourism season, and hiking is a huge draw to this province. Satellite radar picture showing across Newfoundland, things are quiet. Clouds increasing in the big land, likely some showers not too far behind if not there already. We can see the rain kind of working its way up over parts of New Brunswick, into Quebec, into western Quebec, eastern Ontario. This is the beginnings of our next low pressure center, and that is going to bring rain to a large chunk of the province overnight and through the day on Wednesday. And Futurecast paints that picture really nicely. Here we are, 6 p.m. this evening, and at this point, all we're seeing is just a few scattered showers in western parts of Labrador, and then the scattered thunder shower activity into parts of Quebec. Obviously, when we see that this time of year, the thing that comes to my mind is dry lightning strikes, and now subsequently watching out for newly ignited wildfires. Looks like the storm threat is not strong over the province, so that does not look like a threat, at least at this point, for most of Newfoundland and Labrador over the next 24 to 48 hours or so. But there's your midnight forecast. The rain just about arriving into the Churchill Valley and Goose Bay by 6 a.m. It's also arrived in the southwest corner of the island. Now, with this area of heavy rain, there may be some embedded thunder and lightning. Certainly keep that in mind, but with that should come some fairly intense rainfall. By midday tomorrow, the rain is from Makovic down through just north of Corner Brook, including on the northern peninsula, central, southeastern Newfoundland getting into it. If you've got some plans tomorrow morning on the Avalon, maybe a walk, maybe a little bit of golf, get the dog out, get the kids off to school. The morning looks dry. It's once we get through lunchtime, we see the rain moving in, heavy for a couple hours, at least on and off. And then by 6 p.m., most of it's offshore, not only of the Avalon, but most of the province, as that looks to be the case. We go through tomorrow night, skies clear out, but as we go into Thursday, it looks like there may be some showers over parts of Labrador and maybe some late day showers over the island from this kind of disturbance over the maritime provinces early Thursday morning. I'll be watching that very, very closely. Rainfall totals from tonight through later tomorrow, not super impressive, but again, looks like a nice 20 to 30 millimeters around Churchill Falls, 30 to 40 millimeters in the Nain, Nunatsiavut area. As we get down towards Makovic and Cartwright, rainfall a little bit less, and 5 to 10 millimeters in the Marys Harbor region, and then down across the island in the southwest, 30 to 40 millimeters in Port Basque, on the Burin Peninsula, 10 to 15. On the Avalon, looks like now 2 to 5, maybe as much as 10. And then for central, a widespread 5 to looks like 10 or 15 millimeters of rain if we can get into a bit of a heavier downpour. Now, beyond the rain tomorrow, there will be some lingering showers Thursday and perhaps some thunder showers over parts of central and western Newfoundland Thursday afternoon. Now, Friday, we will see some scattered showers, but this forecast is a tad deceitful. And temperatures are going to be more aligned with what we're going to see on Saturday, and here is why. We're going to see on Friday what's called a backdoor cold front, and this is an actual meteorological term. It's a front that moves basically from north to south. So here we are Friday morning. Beauty start to the day, unless you're in Bayvert, Fogo, and much of the northeast coast and the coast of central around Notre Dame Bay and the northern peninsula, because look at the winds there are northerly, and it's going to be chilly. As Friday morning rolls along, Gander, Grand Falls, Windsor may quickly, really, no pauses, my apologies, folks, may quickly wind up to 18, 19 degrees, and then temperatures fall. And same thing for Eastern. Looks like by 2, 3 o'clock Friday afternoon, we're going to be 18, 19 degrees in St. John's, but then look what happens by 6 o'clock. Drops very sharply as those winds turn northerly. So once the winds turn, we're going to get that sharp drop, and that will set us up for a fairly chilly Friday afternoon. Not far from what we're going to be seeing tonight. So for tonight, temperatures 6 to 10 degrees for those overnight lows, and then for your day tomorrow, highs in the teens. A little muggier than today with those winds from the south and the rain moving in, so we'll definitely see a bit of a humidex tomorrow, if you will. Western half of Newfoundland tonight, lows of 6 to 10. For the day tomorrow, highs in the teens to 20. There will be some areas of dense fog initially on the south coast, which may clear later in the day as that rain ends and we kind of scoot that moisture off to the east. Labrador overnight, temperatures of 4 to 10 or so, and then for your day tomorrow, highs in the teens with some gusty winds in spots. Here's your 5-day for eastern Newfoundland. Again, the showers on Friday, but we get that cool down. 4 degrees Friday night. May see some frost advisories for Saturday morning. I'll watch that closely. Southern areas, south coast, looking at temperatures in the low teens the whole way through. More sunshine, though, late week. For central, once we get through Thursday, cooler but sunnier. Western Newfoundland, again, looking at some showers and some rain over the next couple of days, but a nice weekend looks to be on tap. For the northern peninsula, temperatures of 7 degrees on Friday, but back to the mid-teens Saturday and Sunday. Southern coast of Labrador, 18 degrees Thursday, much cooler for Friday and Saturday as those winds turn onshore. On the north coast, temperatures near 10 degrees once we get through the showers and the chilly temperatures on Thursday. For the Goose Bay area, back to near 20 by Saturday after a couple of chilly and cloudy days. And in the west, looking at temperatures in the low teens all the way through at least Saturday, and then we warm things up as we work our way towards Sunday. And there's your last look at the 5-day forecast, and you will see rain in the way for tomorrow. Quieter day Thursday, although some showers on the forecast central and west. And then Friday is the deceptive day where temperatures early in the east and even central might climb up to the middle and upper teens, but they're going to fall to 8 or 9 in the afternoon, and that looks pretty likely at this point. Tony and Mike, back to you.
All right. Thanks so much, Eddie. Thanks to you for joining us tonight.